Hello, Guardians. I wasn't exactly planning on making a video today, but there is something in the seasonal activity that I wanted to talk about with you all that has been a little frustrating as of late. Breach Executable. This, along with Enigma Protocol, has been the new match-made seasonal content available in the episode Echoes. Not to say this is the worst episodical activity, or is better than the Menagerie, which in my opinion does not even come close to. Rather here, putting my opinions on the episodical activity compared to previous aside, I want to talk more about the problems that I have faced whilst running the activity. I'm sure many of you, or well, evidently, not many of you out there know of Radiolite samples being in the activity Breach Executable. Maybe you do, maybe you don't, but these samples are meant to be collected and deposited after the completion of a mission for a decent chunk of rewards. More often than not, you get tons more loot than the actual activity itself. If you didn't know that, now you do. How are you actually supposed to collect these, you may ask? I will show you. Here on screen, you will see these planetary pistons. They are either lit up like other Vex complex structures, or they have been emptied already. In order to actually collect a ton of these Radiolite samples within the activity, you need to have obtained the planetary piston hammer, which is achieved very early on in the failsafe quest from the helm. Ideally, in between the sections of Breach Executable's encounters, everyone goes their own route to the next objective whilst looking around for these planetary pistons. When one is broken, the team will be notified, as a lot of samples will start being added to the right side of their screen. Ideally, everyone finds the guy who broke the planetary piston and helps them collect these. It should be noted that everyone on the fire team gets these. These are shared, so don't feel like you have to fight for these. How does it actually play out? Not very well. More times than not, if you even manage to find one of these planetary pistons, you get joining allies to the next encounter because someone already started it. Not that that's a problem, it's just not very forgiving about how much time you have when the next encounter starts. At all. Unless the planetary piston is directly next to the encounter, you are going to be yoinked. This wouldn't be a big deal if these planetary pistons were easier to come across before the final boss, which in all fairness, they kind of are, but you only have so much time to complete each encounter. And I feel like being that guy who's just farting around until he finds the structure kind of looks like an idiot when everyone who typically plays these things evidently has no idea what these are. So, what's the news? Why am I making this video? Bungie has actually tweeted that they are looking to modify the activity due to the posts all over Reddit and Twitter, videos up on YouTube, and streamers on Twitch regarding how infuriating it is when your teammates start the next encounter. Again, not your teammates' fault, it's just you don't have a lot of time. You're collecting these samples that can literally drop exotic gear, and they're running to the next activity, which is totally cool. Let me grab, and you're being yoinked. Here's what Bungie tweeted, quote, "Hey everyone, we've heard feedback about certain frustrating elements in Breach Executable, and we have a couple of changes planned for next week's update to improve the experience." Quote, "First off, some enemies were hitting a little too hard, particularly those affected by Void Threat and Air Superiority blasts. We want to keep a bit of variety in our modifiers, so, because Void Threat is constantly being applied, we're removing it from Expert Breach Executable." Quote, "We will also be improving the hunt for planetary pistons and Radiolite samples with several changes. Guardians will be able to find 2 pistons in each run of Breach Executable. Piston waypoint range is increased for easier visibility." Quote, "The delay before being teleported to join allies in the next encounter has been increased. This means you can continue to extract samples when your teammates push ahead. Extracting Radiolite samples is now instant, so you can get back to the action faster. Personally, I'm glad that they've decided to make these changes now rather than later. We're not even in Act 2 yet, and they're already making these changes, which is great. I'm glad they're jumping on this now rather than the entire community jumping on them. I know there is some disconcern with how they've stated episodical is going to be totally different than seasonal, when in reality, it's just a slower burst of the seasonal. It's a lot simpler to do. There's not as much grinding, but there's a lot more waiting around for reset. I digress. Anyways, I'm just really glad they're trying to fix the activity. But I am not glad about the footage I got, because while I was recording the footage for this video, my team got soft-locked. Yeah. So, anyways, this video wasn't meant to be an explanation of how to do Breach Executable or Enigma Protocol. I'm not here to change any opinions on collecting samples, as I'm not trying to get rage views here. Play the activity how you want to play. That's how it should be. But Bungie, just let me collect my samples without having to be yoinked across the map and being punished for helping the team get more loot. Again, I digress. Anyways, thank you all for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Cobra out.